What if the single act that turned a fragile, weak, slow-moving ape into the most dominant species on Earth wasn't a bigger brain, sharper claws, or stronger muscles? What if it was something as simple as fire touching meat? Sounds too easy, right? But stay with me, because what you're about to learn will completely change the way you look at your dinner plate tonight. Because cooking isn't just a habit. It might be the reason you exist at all. Every other animal on this planet eats its food raw. Lions tear into flesh straight from the kill. Chimpanzees chew raw fruit for hours. Even our closest genetic cousins have never figured out how to use fire to prepare a meal. But humans did. And somehow, that one decision reshaped our bodies, our brains, and our entire evolutionary destiny. So today we're going deep into one of the strangest questions in human history. Why do humans cook food? And the answer is so much bigger and so much weirder than you'd expect. Let's rewind about 2 million years. Picture early hominids wandering the grasslands of East Africa. Their bodies are small. Their teeth are large. Their guts are massive, almost barrel-shaped, built to process tough raw plants for hours at a time. Life is a constant grind. Literally. Chewing alone could take up to 6 hours a day. Imagine that. 6 hours just to get enough calories to survive. Meanwhile, their brains are tiny compared to ours. And there's a reason for that. Brains are expensive. Shockingly expensive. The human brain today burns through about 20% of your entire daily energy, even though it's only about 2% of your body weight. For early humans stuck eating raw food, there simply wasn't enough spare energy lying around to grow a brain like that. So, how did we go from small-brained, big-gutted foragers to the species capable of building rockets and writing symphonies? Here's where things get weird. Somewhere along the way, early humans discovered fire, not just as a source of warmth or protection from predators, but as a tool for transforming food itself. And this changes everything. When you cook meat, something remarkable happens at a molecular level. Heat breaks down tough connective tissue. It denatures proteins, unraveling their tight structures into forms your gut can absorb far more easily. Cooking plants does something just as powerful. It breaks down cellulose and starch granules, unlocking calories that would otherwise pass through your body completely unused. In other words, cooking is basically outsourcing digestion. Instead of your stomach doing all the hard work, the fire does it for you, before the food even touches your lips. Anthropologist Richard Wrangham calls this the cooking hypothesis, and it might be one of the most important ideas in the story of human evolution. Because once cooking entered the picture, our ancestors were suddenly getting far more usable energy from every single meal. And that surplus energy had to go somewhere. Here's what almost nobody realizes. It went straight to the brain. Over time, natural selection began favoring smaller guts and bigger brains, because cooked food no longer required that massive digestive system to break it down. Look at your own body compared to a chimpanzee's. Your intestines are shorter. Your stomach is smaller. Your jaw muscles are weaker. Your teeth are smaller too. Nature clearly reshaped us around one core assumption, that our food would already be halfway digested by the time it reached our mouths. Your body, quite literally, expects fire to have done part of its job before you take a single bite. But that's only half the story. Because cooking didn't just change our biology. It changed our behavior, our social structures, and maybe even the origins of language itself. Imagine a group of early humans 1 million years ago, gathered around a fire after a long day. For the first time in animal history, mealtime becomes something more than just chewing survival. It becomes a shared moment. Cooking takes time, and waiting for food to cook means people have to sit together, talk, plan, bond. Some researchers argue this simple pause around the fire may have laid the foundation for early social structures, cooperation, and even storytelling. Try imagining a campfire with no food cooking on it. Feels incomplete, doesn't it? That feeling is ancient. It's baked into you. Now you'd think that's the end of the story. Bigger brain, better social life, smaller gut, problem solved. But evolution had another plan. Because cooking didn't just make food easier to digest, it made food safer. Raw meat carries dangerous bacteria and parasites. Untreated plants can carry toxins that make you violently ill, or worse. Heat kills most of these threats almost instantly. So cooking wasn't only a nutritional upgrade, it was a survival strategy. Every meal cooked over a fire was, in a sense, a tiny act of protection against an invisible enemy neither our ancestors nor their prey could see coming. Here's where scientists were completely surprised. When researchers studied modern humans attempting to survive on a fully raw food diet, similar to what our distant ancestors might have eaten without fire, the results were almost shocking. Even with modern fruits, vegetables, and lean meats that are far more calorie-dense than anything available in the wild 2 million years ago, many raw food participants struggled to maintain enough energy. Some experienced significant weight loss. Some even lost the ability to menstruate due to insufficient caloric intake. Let that sink in for a second. Even with today's optimized fruits and modern nutrition science, raw food alone often isn't enough to sustain a fully active human body. Your brain is basically saying, absolutely not. I need my fire-processed calories. Thank you very much. It's like evolution accidentally left a bug in the system, one that only fire could patch. But here's the real twist, the one that reshapes everything you thought you knew. Cooking may not have simply helped human evolution. Some scientists argue it was a required condition for it. Without cooked food, there's a real possibility we never develop the metabolic surplus needed to fuel a brain 3 times larger than a chimpanzee's. Without that surplus, there's no capacity for complex language, no capacity for symbolic thought, no capacity for building tools, cities, ships, satellites. Cooking, this small, seemingly ordinary act of putting food over a flame, might be the reason you're capable of reading this sentence and understanding it right now. Feels strange to think dinner and destiny are connected like that, doesn't it? But the story doesn't stop with ancient humans. Cooking still shapes you today, right now, in ways you probably never noticed. Think about the last time you smelled food cooking nearby. Maybe garlic hitting a hot pan, or bread baking in an oven. Did your stomach growl instantly? Did your mouth start watering before you even saw the food? That's not random. That's ancient programming, triggered by an evolutionary shortcut, a signal your brain has associated with safe, digestible, calorie-dense meals for nearly 2 million years. Your ancestors, who felt intense excitement at the smell of cooking food, were more likely to eat well, survive, and reproduce. The ones who felt nothing simply didn't pass on their genes as often. In a very real sense, your craving for cooked food is a message sent from your ancestors, echoing across thousands of generations, still influencing your behavior at the grocery store or in your kitchen tonight. And here's something even stranger to consider. Cooking might explain why humans, alone among all animals, developed cuisines, culture, rituals, and traditions built entirely around food. No other species throws birthday parties with cake. No other species has holiday feasts, wedding banquets, or comfort food memories tied to childhood. Chimpanzees don't have recipes passed down through generations. Wolves don't celebrate a successful hunt with a shared meal designed to taste a certain way. But humans do. Because cooking transformed eating from a purely biological necessity into a canvas for creativity, identity, and connection. Every cuisine on Earth, from Italian pasta to Japanese ramen to Mexican mole, all trace back to that same ancient spark. Fire, transforming raw ingredients into something greater than the sum of their parts. So the next time you sit down for a meal, maybe pause for just a second. Because what's happening on your plate isn't just chemistry. It's not just convenience or taste. It's a direct link to the moment our ancestors discovered fire could do something extraordinary, unlocking energy no other species could access, fueling a brain capable of imagination, language, and civilization itself. Cooking didn't just feed early humans, it built them. It rewired their bodies, expanded their brains, strengthened their social bonds, and gave rise to entire cultures built around shared meals. And in a strange, quiet way, it's still shaping you today. Every single time, hunger pulls you toward a kitchen. So here's a question worth sitting with, long after this video ends. If cooking helped build the human brain, what happens to us, physically, socially, even psychologically, as more and more of our meals become instant, processed, and detached from that ancient ritual around the fire? Are we still evolving with our food? Or are we slowly drifting away from the very thing that made us human in the first place? If you enjoyed exploring this mystery, subscribe to the Primal Logic for more fascinating stories about humans, nature, science, and the hidden reasons behind the world around us.